The Super Bowl, the ups and downs, the team that everybody knew would win, or just the good overall games. And then, of course, the ones that shocked the world. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the top 5 NFL teams that should have won the Super Bowl. Now, before we begin, I, of course, want to point out how this is a subjective list. You may agree or disagree with some of these on the list. So I encourage you to put down in the comments below what you agree or disagree with. And also feel free to put your top 5 NFL teams that should have won the Super Bowl. The 1990 Buffalo Bills, Super Bowl 25. Now, as we all know, the Buffalo Bills fan base has struggled a lot over the years, and especially during this time, because this is when they were notorious for losing 4 Super Bowls in a row. And of course, they hold the record, which that is not a good record to hold. During the regular season, they won 13 games. They had 4 Hall of Famers: Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, and James Lofton. The defense was led by prime Bruce Smith, who was in the middle of a 19-sack season. Defense that also had Cornelius Bennett, Darryl Talley, and Shane Conlon. The defense held opponents to 7 or fewer points 5 times during the season. In the AFC title match, they beat the Raiders 51-3 in a beatdown. They were 6.5-point favorites to win the Super Bowl, but Bill Belichick's New York defense held the Bills to only 17 points. Scott Norwood missed the 47-yard game-winning field goal, which has become notorious, and Bills fans will never forget. The 2015 Carolina Panthers Super Bowl 50. The Carolina Panthers came out of nowhere and shocked the world as they decimated most opponents during the season. They finished the season 15-1 with their only loss coming from the Atlanta Falcons, and they stormed their way through the postseason. The Carolina Panthers had breakout stars on offense, Cam Newton, and on defense, Josh Norman. One of the weaknesses, which is hard to find on this team, was the secondary, which allowed 21 passing touchdowns. They had the highest scoring offense and had a great defense. Cam Newton ended up getting the league MVP. And of course, as everyone knows, Cam Newton has a nickname Superman. And also, as everyone knows, Superman has kryptonite as his weakness. So in Cam's case, his kryptonite would be that of Denver Broncos linebacker Von Miller. Super Bowl 50 was a heavy defensive game. Neither offense could get going. The highest scoring offense was stalled. And Cam's kryptonite, Von Miller, finished the game with 6 tackles, 2.5 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles, one of which people said Cam should have jumped on the ball, but let's admit it, people, it probably wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game. If the Panthers had to have a bright spot, which there was few in this game, it would be that of defensive end Coney Ealy, who finished the game with 4 tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and a pick. And many believe if the Panthers would have won Super Bowl 50, he would have easily won the MVP. The Broncos won Super Bowl 50 24-10. Neither team has been the same since Super Bowl 50, with the Broncos not seeing the playoffs since that Super Bowl, and the Panthers only seeing the playoffs once since Super Bowl 50 in the 2017 season, where they ended up losing to the New Orleans Saints. The 2001 St. Louis Rams Super Bowl 36. The St. Louis Rams at this time were known as the greatest show on turf, with a high-flying offense which was top-ranked in the NFL, and they had a third-ranked defense. They scored 29-plus points in 13 times during the season. They had stars such as Marshall Faulk, who rolled up 2,147 yards from scrimmage in 14 games. In the regular season, they won by an average of more than 14 points contrast per contest. They were 14-point favorites to win the Super Bowl, but then Brady kind of became a thing at this time, and Vinatieri ended up kicking a game-winning field goal in the Super Bowl, and it would not be the last, as he did it again against the Carolina Panthers. The Patriots won 20-17, beating the greatest show on turf. The 2016 Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl 51. The Atlanta Falcons had the highest scoring offense, and in case you haven't noticed, there's kind of been a trend here, which produced a league MVP quarterback Matt Ryan, and also had a star receiver in Julio Jones, who's arguably one of the best receivers in the game. This team shared some similarities with the 2015 Carolina Panthers, which is odd because they are also from the NFC South. They dominated the regular season, the playoffs, in the first half of the Super Bowl. Not only were they very dominant before the Super Bowl, but they were very dominant in the first half of the Super Bowl, which many believed they should have ended up winning because of that, because the Atlanta Falcons went up 28-3 on the New England Patriots, and of course you knew I was going to reference that. The Patriots came back with Atlanta having abysmal play calling late in the game, where if they ran, they could have kicked the field goal to finish it, but they passed and got pushed back, and the Patriots ended up tying the game. In overtime, the Patriots stormed down the field, and Super Bowl standout running back James White ran for the game-winning touchdown. The Patriots won Super Bowl 51 34-28, and perhaps one of the biggest collapses in sports history. The 2007 New England Patriots Super Bowl 42. I know, shocker, right? But how can you not have this as number one? The 2007 New England Patriots were possibly the greatest team to never win it, going in 18-0 and close to getting a perfect season, which only the Dolphins have accomplished. With Tom Brady and Randy Moss on offense, the defense had Junior Seau, Teddy Bruschi, Rodney Harrison, Vince Wilfork, and Asante Samuel. They outscored opponents by an average of 37-17. Asante Samuel dropped an interception, which would have likely ended it, and David Tyree had an amazing helmet catch that kept the Giants alive and ended up having them going down the field and getting the game-winning touchdown. Also, another thing to keep in mind, the Patriots were, of course, undefeated up until this point, and they did not finish with a perfect season. And the Giants were only a fifth seed in the NFC, and they were in the wild card, so this is an example of a wild card team going all the way, which rarely happens, but a fifth seed took out an unbeatable, or supposedly unbeatable team. The Giants won 17-14, ruining the Patriots' perfect season. So, do you agree or disagree with this list? Make sure to put it down in the comments below what you agree or disagree with, and also feel free to put your top five. And I guess I should also point out that, I might have been a little biased on one, because I'll let you know that I am a Carolina Panthers fan. I have always been a fan of that team. I was not one of those bandwagons, like, you know, the bandwagons when you see them, but we all knew the Broncos had an amazing defense. So, I'm happy I at least got to see my team in a Super Bowl. I'm not going to be salty about it. I got all the respect for Von Miller in the world. He's such a great player. But of course, do you agree or disagree with this list? Make sure to put it down in the comments below and put your top five. And of course, as always, I would love to see you all next time.